The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour. As always, it doesn't matter where you're at as long as you're here at the appointed time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
So what do we have going on today? Well, we're basically flat on the S&P, up 64 on the NASDAQ, down 93. Russell 2000. So we've got the proverbial Steve Rhodes mixed bag. But not unsurprising about what we got today. And, you know, the options were kind of homing in for 37.50 tomorrow. So I was kind of looking for us to kind of come into that range today. So if we're a little higher, a little lower, just consolidation of that move up off the low. We got up to, 37.90, which was pretty... we showed the last couple of days is where pretty good resistance would be. So are we, is everybody should turn tail and run? No. I think we've got, now that the Fed's kind of out of the picture a bit, we're going to go back to the way the markets were before they were so thoroughly molested by easy money. And that's typical of light volumes summers. So I don't expect a lot. We did have that selling climax, as Wyckoff would have called it, off the lows. We had a huge amount of volume. That generally connotes that we'll come back, although not right away, but we'll probably come back there. I'm suspecting that it's after the 4th of July. We've been waiting for some kind of decent counter trend move, and that's probably up to about 4,000 on the S&P cash. So what else do we have here? Well, a lot of hurry up and wait. When we had Powell testimony today, so there was a little bit of that. Yesterday we had a lot of questions about volume and the CBOE consolidated tape page. We'll go through that today in the next segment. But that's kind of it. We're doing about 7.7 billion shares. As I said, on Friday, we did 18 billion. Of course, part of that was the quad witching coming through the market. But anyway, that's kind of it at the moment. Not a lot to get excited about. I did write quite a bit about having patience in the daily newsletter this morning. There's only one stock I like, and I don't like it as a trade. I kind of like it as just hanging out in it. But other than that, that's in the Tech Insider. Other than that, I'm more than willing to sit on my hands and wait for the big fat pitch, which I suspect is coming. Now, could it be higher or lower? Yeah, I'm thinking it's higher. I think we probably have some kind of consolidation going on now. And that's probably going to drive us up to 4,000 on the S&P cash. I think a lot of people are a little highly optimistic above 4,000. I think a lot of things would have to change. We're getting a few things that are helping out a bit. I discussed, Tuesday in the newsletter, a theory on why I think crude may have some further weakness here in the near future. And we've got we're down to $2 today, so we're getting that kind of pullback. I didn't look at anything else much in the way of this, but we will. Of course, you can always email me at path@tfnn.com, or you can put a message in the den, or you can call me at 877-927-6648. Only one stock. That's it. That's all I could find that I liked, and the only reason I like it is it looks like it's under accumulation. On days when it comes down like this, there's a bid underneath it, and the business they're in is kind of the business of the future. But other than that, there isn't a lot to hang your hat on. Let's look at a couple of charts real quick as we continue on. Okay. You got to bounce out of here. Whoop, got to bounce. No, let's do this. There we go. We got to bounce out of the TLT. Kind of a reversal signal. About what you're looking for. We're going back up to 115 now. The problem is that you came down on the 13th with 37 million shares. You're up on 13 million shares right to what is going to be resistance. But yeah, if you played the bonds through the TLT, yeah, you're probably getting a little greedy if you hang on any more than this. But there's a few things, like I said, probably lower volume or lower energy costs in the short term could help the market back up to 4,000, maybe a little bit over. There are some other things out there in the ether, and those may even move energy prices down lower. Mimi asks about NE, the nights that say NE, Next Era Energy. Got a nice pop today. You've got days down on like the 9th. You were down on 8.4 million shares. You're up today on about 7. It's not bad. You're up on. You had a nice sign of strength yesterday with 12.7 million shares. Now just in a bigger trading range. Now the problem with this is that you filled this 3-gap play, and it's not a huge 3-gap play, but in this kind of market, I'd probably be ringing the register if I bought this thing somewhere around in the low 70s. That's probably all you can look forward to. If you're trading it, if you're holding on to long term, that's something else. But if you're trading it, you're going to have to probably, like I said, do a lot of consolidation and go sideways out here. Okay, can you repeat, confirm or clarify? I can neither confirm nor deny, Jimmy. But no, just 4,000 on options. He asked me where I was picking that number out of, but pretty much on options shows that even option market makers think it could bounce to there. If anything above that, it's gravy, but I'll probably ring the register there. But that's kind of it. But I can neither confirm nor deny. I'll have to fold, mutilate, and spindle it. You know, people don't have spindles as much. I think because all the TV shows showed people getting eviscerated with the spindle. But I like those things. I wish they'd come up. That's something that needs a comeback. The spindle. Anyway, don't spindle, mutilate, or fold. I like folding. We'll be back in a minute.
Of booming inflation, where your purchasing power is eroded, there's no better place to protect your hard-earned money than in gold. Vista Gold's flagship asset is the Mount Todd Gold Project in the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Australia's largest undeveloped gold project. We are talking a world-class gold project in a Tier 1 mining district. This is a large-scale, low-cost project with significant existing infrastructure in a politically safe and friendly mining jurisdiction. Vista Gold just completed the Mount Todd feasibility study, which resulted in a 7 million ounce gold reserve and a 16-year mine life. All of this, combined with the approvals of all major operational as well as environmental permits. This distinguishes Mount Todd as an attractive, de-risk partner, ready development stage gold project. Vista Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol VGZ.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we earn, like MacArthur to the Philippines, we've got a few things going on. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of history, and then we'll get into some of the other.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is nothing but rhyming, really. On this day in 1868, the Scholes and Glidden typewriter, the first practical commercially successful typewriter, is patented, perhaps the most notable in the design, which would be later bought by Remington, is the use of the QWERTY keyboard, otherwise known as the upper right-hand side, QWERTY. Most people don't know why we have keyboards as we do. But if you think back to mechanical keyboards, it was trying to keep the most time away from two of the keys hitting each other and getting stuck. Because, of course, depending on how you pushed them, they had to move around. And, yeah, you had to get used to it. But, yeah, we're still got it today, although there's different keyboards, different layouts. And actually, with keyboards today, you can move the keys around anywhere you want and write a driver for them, or actually just modify a driver, which is fairly simple. But, hey, once you're stuck with it, it's hard to get rid of it. And that's pretty much all there is. And that's all I have to say about that. Directly from the New York Stock Exchange floor, we have this comment.
Let's put some lipstick on this pig.
Yes, let's do that. And we had some questions about yesterday about volume, so we're going to do that now. And if I can find it here, where's the other one? There it is. Okay. Anyway, I said this is the volume page I look at, and a lot of people called or emailed, and I sent the link to them. And they really didn't know what they were looking at. I guess we don't really talk that much about the inner workings of the market. Most of the time, it does not matter. But just so you can amaze your friends long term, we'll go through how the market actually works. There's a thing called the Common Market System, CMS, and it aggregates everything so that FINRA, the supposedly moderating system overlord of the markets, which they kind of are, kind of little are, and a little bit not. Generally, they go after the small fry and let the big fry go. So you can kind of figure that out. But there are a lot of different markets out here. We'll just start with what tape A, tape B, and tape C is in the markets and how this all goes together. The way they have it is that everything kind of funnels into a different bag during the day for volume. Tape A is the New York Stock Exchange. Tape B is the NASDAQ. Tape C is NASDAQ stocks that also trade on the New York Stock Exchange. So you've got really those kind of three. And then you've got 13 different exchanges across these fruited plains. New York Stock Exchange ARCA, which is kind of the competitor to the NASDAQ, the actual New York Stock Exchange. And if you look at the volume there, you'll see like 500 million or something. If you don't know, or if you're new to the market or just never paid any attention, the New York Stock Exchange is really just kind of a figment of everybody's imagination. There's still some business that goes on there, but it's really a set piece for CNBC and Bloomberg occasionally to sit in front of as a backdrop. I don't know. It seems like one of the most expensive places in New York City. They'd probably just sell it. 98% of or 95% of the trades that the New York Stock Exchange does actually is over in New Jersey in a highly hidden fortress. And I think next to it is the NASDAQ too. And probably the most well-guarded place in America, even more than atomic weapons. But you got 500 million shares. When we talk about doing 18 billion in a day, it gets you a little bit of an idea just what's going on. But the New York Stock Exchange actually only generally trades about 1/3 of the volume through the New York Stock Exchange. Normally, everything else goes elsewhere. Dark pools, ARCA, which is the kind of the, like I said, the competitor. The New York Stock Exchange exists today for people to make hand-to-hand negotiations on some big trades for the most part. They have a much higher average of volume for a single trade. But you've got a national market, you got a New York stock market American, and a Chicago, and these all link back up to things like the CBOE and others, and future markets. But there's market makers everywhere, and these things all eventually, like tentacles of a big octopus, come back into the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ's the same kind of thing. It's got multiple parts out here. Normally, what you're going to see is the NASDAQ Q. That's about 90% of it, I think, 95. You've got the Pacific Stock Exchange, which is X, and you've got the another one, which is the BX. In total, you have 13 or 14 different exchanges. They all funnel all this different volume back into the total, which is down here at the back, which is the match total. So when you look at it, then you have the FINRA and TRF volume. So you have to add that to the total volume, and I get my 8 billion shares down here. Now, what is this FINRA and TRF volume? Mostly it is off-the-book stuff, right? So if you look back in here, you're going to find out that when you get into the dark pools, this is kind of where that volume is hidden out there. And as we said yesterday, the dark pools are about 35, normally on an average day, about 35% of the market. Those dark pools are only tradable with other big titans of Wall Street. They've done that to avoid getting front run by high-frequency traders. So they make it incredibly difficult for anybody to do anything. And, of course, there's a few other indexes, but, either it's the NASDAQ, the New York Stock Exchange, the CBOE, ICE. It's one of a handful of folks, and everything gets wired back up to fall back into a position. But really, what you want to look at really is the tape A, which is the NASDAQ. Right now, 1.9 billion shares. Then you want to look at tape B and C, where you have about 2.7 add up on that. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other tigers and tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
Well, hopefully I'm back. I didn't hear anything that time. 877-927-6648. And the first question of the day is Rocket Labs, RKLB. What is your opinion on Rocket Lab? They are supposed to launch NASA technology demonstrator satellite to the moon on June 25th. Overall, they have 23 successful launches out of 26, which is much better than Astra, who just had another big failure. Yeah, I think they're done for it. Frankly, I don't know if there's enough room out there for Boeing and SpaceX, much less anybody else. Right now, we've got a lot of stuff launching, but that's probably going to close. That's going to probably slow down. You haven't heard a lot from SpaceX on their Starlink system, although that's very interesting. Is there? That the big money for that is to get data faster than the fiber optic cable on the ocean floor between Europe and the United States to gain a competitive advantage. So we'll see if that ever comes out. The idea is that you're only at about a little better than half the speed of light on fiber optics across that huge ocean. But if you fired a laser in outer space to yet another satellite and then downlinked it the last 300 miles, pretty much all of it would be at the speed of light. That is Musk's big deal going forward, is the satellites communicating with each other. I don't know how technically good this is working out. They had their first bunch of satellites. Then they started launching the satellites with the laser options to talk to the other satellites via laser beam. No sharks involved from Mr. Musk, at least what he said. But the question is there just that much business? I know that there's a bit that continues on from the previous administration, but my belief, though, is in this pullback, the first thing that they start tending to do from one party to the next is go after the stuff they don't like. And NASA is not a big expenditure that they like. So, the big thing is getting that stuff through. I think you've got probably another couple of years. I don't know. You may get something with this elections this fall. But I think the big thing would be you'd have to have a switch in the executive branch to get really fired up about this. If they had a big customer that didn't depend on the government, I would think a lot more about Rocket Labs. Anyway, you're down here at about $4. Can it bounce? Yeah. Am I going to be a big investor in it? Not without a lot more signals to the contrary. It's not bad looking. You had a previous low at $3.93 with $6.25 million shares down there. So you're down there today with about 3 million shares. So, does it look good for maybe a bounce? I think it does, but I think a lot of people think like I do, which is where it's great that they got a launch today and they've got a good system. But is it reusable? Can they put stuff into orbit at the right price? Even Virgin Galactic, don't hear a whole lot about them anymore. What is it? SPCE? What is that? SPCE, isn't it? Space. Same kind of chart. You tested a 16.6 million share low, almost got into the candle with about 10 million shares, and now it's just kind of going up. But other than SpaceX, which of course is not a public company, I think you got kind of some problems if these things are ever. And I never thought much about them when they were up there. I knew that this was kind of the eventual end of it, that you were going to have one company take all the marbles for the most part, just because the economies of scale for SpaceX. I don't know if they're making money, but they're probably losing less than everybody else. 877-927-6648. Okay. Someone brought up GDX, and I've got some other people asking it. So XL, who's this? Red says where would be a good place to buy a position down in the SOX L. I mean, you're probably going to get a bounce. You got 3 gaps up to about 21.5. My guess is that's probably a fairly nice move to get an ABC on the way down, possibly, or at least a retest of this 1276. Hopefully that happens before the end of the summer, maybe early September, and then you have the possibility of getting some kind of meaningful rally. What I dislike is the energy on the way down. As I said, a lot of these stocks or ETFs or sectors had energy, and this one certainly did. The June 2nd high down to the July 17th low saw energy up by about 50% from the May 12th low up to that same June 2nd high. So I'm not a big fan out here of going after stuff that came down with heavy volume. What you want to do is find stocks that came down with lighter volume. So let's see out here. Got a question of natural gas with regular gas being down. We're back to this double gap. This is probably where it needs to hold, and you're a little bit underneath it right now in this double gap. But not uncommon to see natural gas weaken all the way through August. As I said before, I wasn't a big fan of trying to chase this before the last maybe 2 or 1 weeks of August. At that point, you generally find a seasonal low, and I'll like it there. When you get back to moving higher, whatever the trade is at that point, you're probably looking at that $96 level where you have a double gap just above this gap down of the 14th of June. 877-927-6648. Okay. What else do we have here? We got that. Okay. Apparently I'm loading my dishwasher wrong, according to this email. I don't know how that can happen. We'll be back in a minute. We've got a lot of stocks to look at. I'll start going through them a little faster. I'm a little distracted, a little tired. Not going to change much out. We'll be back in a minute.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
As we return, I need to move a couple of things around here that I need to get to during the next break. Question in the den. I was going to ask you about Starlink. Will that be a boon to rural, as in the mountain communities? I think so. They raised their prices a little bit, I think, to $130 a month, which is, I think I'm paying $90. So, if you're out where the buses do not run, probably not, the worst deal. And, some reviews good, some reviews bad. They're starting to let you use them at different locations. They have, basically you were locked into the location you had, and if you moved it, the thing didn't work. I think that's slowly changing. They now have a higher tier for $1,500 a month. Is it $1,500? Maybe it's $500 a month. I think it's $500 a month. Maybe it's $1,500. Anyway, it's a downlink for small communities. And I think maybe they have a $500 and a $1,500 system with a bigger dish. But the dish is to feed at a kind of a rural area. Maybe, a lot of the houses were within viewing distance of each other. You can use it and split it all up. And then smaller towns like 2,000-3,000 are set up to be using the $1,500 model. I don't know how much it is. I just know I think that's what it is a month, $1,500 for a wideband system. Don't know if it's always on. Again, they're still putting up more satellites. The big thing was there was $16 billion to be handed out by the government. And Musk is kind of in a word salad war with the prez. And I don't know if it's about this or everything else, but certainly it is problematic for those folks trying to get anything. A lot of people are talking about 5G at home. Very spotty, although I think another 40 cities rolled out last week for one of the carriers. 5G is not going to work good at long distances. So I think, although some people are pushing that, my guess is that maybe somebody's getting a good size of that money off the top and maybe into their bank account. We've never heard of that before, have we? But I think the only thing that works right now is Starlink, and I don't think it's been around long enough for us to say that it's good enough. Although I've seen some people use it. They've given it, the guy I know gave it to his sister who does live out on a farm and doesn't have any real internet other than dial-up. And of course for her, just download the movie and watch it after it's downloaded, not have to worry about it. But she says it's up about 90% of the time right now. So, you got, just the basic system he has is, I think, 4,800 satellites, and the system he imagines is 12,000. So, I mean, that's a lot of satellites to put up in orbit to get your constellation where you can get, anywhere on the planet at any time. But, the satellites aren't meant to last very long either. So the question is, I mean, this first bunch are supposed to deorbit, I think, in 5 or 7 years, mostly kind of a version 1.0. And now they have the 1.5 with the lasers that talk to each other. The idea is that, we'll say that you're up in Alaska or the Antarctic or something, and there's not a lot very close to you for an uplink system. You can uplink to another satellite that talks to the satellite that's over the top of you with a laser, and then you get your internet signal. And like I said, I don't know much. The real proof of the pudding for Starlink will be those laser interconnects to get to a lot of places that aren't covered very well, especially over the ocean, stuff like that. I know that I've talked about this one last year. There's a company here in Tampa that was involved in building a satellite dish about the size of a pizza box for boats so that you could always have internet connections. But, most people just kind of go up and down the coast, and even they put a repeater on the top of the mast of their sailboat or the regular boat. And, if you're standing at waterline, I'm trying to remember, is it, I think you can see 3.5 miles, but if you're up about 20 feet, I think it's like 50 miles. So if you put it on the top of your boat, a lot of times you can just use the coastal 5G internet, but we'll see. I think it's to be determined. 877-927-6648. Hopefully I got it. Oh, I do. Oregon. Rich, how you doing today?
Good, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Glad to get it.
I'm looking at Mosaic, and it looks like all of the fertilizer type stocks are getting pummeled. Do you see any reason to start looking at these for a possible entry, or do they have a lot more to go down?
Well, I mean, the price of these things tended to be with the price of natural gas because it is critical in making the fertilizer. So I think what you want to do is wait and see when natural gas comes in. As I said on the same thing, you're probably talking about late August, right? And of course, a lot of these things got driven up a lot higher than probably they should have. But on the pullback here, you're now almost 50% off the highs. We'll see the volume and I'll try to look at it tomorrow. But if you can get maybe 15 or 16 million shares by the end of the day, that may be your selling climax, but doesn't mean that you should buy it. But that would mean that you probably want to wait for a retest of a high volume low around that $45 area. You've got a little edge over here at about $43 that goes back from about February early to where it started to take off on the 24th of February. And that's the close is 45.14. So you're probably fairly close to running into a lot of support, and maybe you'll get some automatic rallies. But my guess is the next big rally would come if energy starts getting a little bit froggy. But I think we're kind of in that pullback part now and could go into late August before you get anything out there that makes you want to buy again.
Okay. I'll keep an eye on it.
There's a lot going on in the energy sector, some of the stuff I haven't talked about. But I think the market's kind of front-running that news or possible news. So there's probably a pretty big binary event coming out of the energy market sooner rather than later. We'll be back in a minute.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
As we come to wrap up another excellent Power Trading Show, and we kind of had a little bounce up to rough 14 points. Again, I haven't seen anything. Maybe it changes before the end of the day or tomorrow morning, but options are kind of showing about 37.50 for tomorrow's expiration, and a bit of consolidation. Maybe we get a surprise, maybe we don't, but option market makers aren't looking for a whole lot. Last question in of the day from Tara is the XLV, and what a poster perfect chart out here to go out with for the day, and that is this real beautiful confluence level at 127.67 to 63. So you got a 4% range out here in this, and $100, $126 ETF. So pretty beautiful. You got to 126.83. The question is, if you're thinking long term or short term, if this was a trade off the bottom, Amscray, Attenley, ring the register. You may get a little bit more. You may get 128, but I'm always a sell when you can, not when you have to guy. But that's pretty much, you're going to have to chew through that. So the odds are not great that you're going to get a lot more than that. You've got the lion's share. You got the gravy. And the question is, are you going to play this, have it gap up, and then turn back down maybe before you can get out of it. I do like it. So that's pretty beautiful. Now, on an opposite side, you also had a 3-gap play down on this one, and that also is fairly decent looking. 1, 2, and 3, and now you filled it. Now, that's kind of how a 3-gap play works. This one wasn't huge, but that's generally what you get, and it's generally time to retest the close again once you filled those. I don't think on this one, but I think you're very stiff with resistance. Ring the register. Get ready for the next 8-7. Oh, I'm done. So when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.